Hello and welcome for today's webinar about GAIS and our employee survey platform. I just want to welcome you all. Thank you for taking the time to look at this webinar today, and just some service information from my side, because today I was supposed to be accompanied by my colleague Louise, but unfortunately she's down with some flu these days. It's really a season for this. So today you will only be listening to my voice. So I hope that you are sitting comfortably and perhaps with a cup of coffee or your favorite drink, and then I will try and guide you through today's webinar. Of course, I hope that you can hear me. Otherwise, I'm sure one of my colleagues will run in here and tell me if something is wrong. As you might have noticed already, we already shut down or shut off your camera and also muted you guys, so you can't say anything. But if you have any questions during today's webinar to something that I will be addressing or talking about, my colleagues in the Q&A session will be ready for you. So you can just feel free and ask some questions in the chat, and they will get back to you right away. And of course, you can also reach out to me after the webinar if you have some further questions to what you have seen today. I think that I'll just move on to today's agenda so you know what we will cover on today's webinar. Of course, I would like to give you a brief introduction to GAIS and who we are, and how you can use our platform within your company today. Of course, we will have a focus on well-being. So what we know about how employees, how they feel about going to work as of today, and how you can ask questions and track the development through time, of course. I will also show you how you can set up a survey on our freemium version, because we have a freemium version today where you can actually test GAIS if you are a company with smaller than or fewer than 50 employees. But you, of course, if you have a company where, or if you're in a company where you are more than 50 employees, then you can also do a test run. Let's say you would test it in one department, see, okay, how is this working? Is this something that we would like to invest in, to use in the entire company? So I'll show you how you can set up a survey quite easy, and also how you can how the reporting looks like. So how can you actually read the data and analyze them, and then take some next steps from there. I will also guide you through one of the things that we are quite proud of in GAIS, which is our personal report that all of your colleagues will get once they answered a survey. I will show you some more info about that later on in this webinar. Then I also have a little teaser. If you will stick to the end of this webinar, which I of course hope that you will, because then you will actually be able to test a GAIS survey right away by using a link that my colleague will share with you at the end. And then you will be able to answer some questions and also receive afterwards your personal report, so you can see how that looks like. So hopefully you will you'll stick to the end. I will also just cover at the end what you will get in a GAIS subscription. So if you choose to be in our paid plans, because there is a difference if you're in the freemium version or in the paid plan. So more on that later. First of all, I think I would like to explain to you guys what GAIS is. And if you don't already know, then we are a digital engagement platform, and we have been for more than 10 years now, so quite experienced in this area. So what you can use the GAIS platform for is to, of course, do some test in terms of how your employees are feeling about work or when they go to work. So you can of course ask some questions to the entire company. It can also be in teams or departments, or what you basically want to know. It's quite easy for you to set up a survey, either if it's, like I said, department or the entire company. We don't always need to, of course, include the entire company. We could have a situation where, let's say you in HR or in leadership, you have a feeling, okay, something in this department is not functioning how we thought it would. At least that's our That's what we think as of today. Then we could just send out a survey to this department to actually get some understanding. Is what we thought in the beginning correct, or is it not? So it's quite easy to react when something is perhaps wrong. Then it's also, GAIS is also for the individuals, because like I said, we have our own personal report that we share with your employees when they answer some questions in the GAIS platform. So that means they will answer some questions in a employee engagement survey that you will send out to them. And then once submitting their answer, right away their personal report will pop on the screen. And of course, you can answer the questions on whatever device you choose to do it from. So from your iPhone or Android, tablet, computer. That's up to you. We'll just send you an invitation. And when I say you, I mean the employees. We'll just send them an invitation on their mail. They will just click the mail and then they will answer questions right away. So they don't need to create a profile or download an app or anything. GAIS is in the browser. So it's quite easy for the employees to actually get to the answering part. But then when they're done answering the questions, their own personal report will pop. And I'll show you the personal report when we dive into the platform later, so you can see what they will have and what they can use it for. Of course, like I already said, so we want to make it easy for you guys in HR or in the leadership team to measure, analyze, and improve job satisfaction. And we do it with, of course, making the analyzing part quite easy. So in terms of we want to localize how is it going in the company and where do we need to improve if there is anything that we need to improve. Oftentimes there is at least some things that we can improve. So I would say the GAIS platform is quite visual in terms of where we need to put some effort, and I'll of course show you that when we get into the platform. Like I also teased for in the beginning, we have some different subscriptions. Today I will mainly focus on the freemium version, so you guys know what you can test if you actually choose to test GAIS after this webinar. But I will also make some small comments in terms of where there will be some things, perhaps some analyzing tools that will be only required on the paid plan. So for you to use this, you will be on the paid plan, but I will make sure to highlight that when we get into the platform. We also have a bunch of different languages available on the platform. Like you can see, 19 as of today. We have a lot of European languages, so we make sure that your employees can actually understand fully the questions that they're answering. Many of the languages would be German, Norwegian, Swedish, Spanish, a lot of the European languages, like I said. We also have some non-European, like Chinese, for instance, if you have some Chinese members in your company. Yes, let me just move on here, because I also want to cover a bit on what's like the fundament of GAIS, so what we're standing on in terms of the platform, because GAIS is built upon a big research primarily in the Nordics, so Denmark, Norway, Sweden, where we participated in this big research where we wanted to find out, okay, what is actually important to employees when they go to work. So what factors do we need to cover if we want to understand how they're feeling? And this research actually gave us 72 factors overall that was important to employees or persons when they go to work. But of course, 72 factors is a lot to cover in a survey. So we narrowed it down to 7 factors, and that's the 7 factors that you see in the big circle here. So that would be balance, mastery, purpose, colleagues, influence, leadership, and achievements. These 7 factors is the one that we know have is the most important when persons go to work. So that's the factors that we ask questions to. More on that later as well. This is a slide where I would like to show you the different types of surveys that we have today and that we offer. And as you see, we have a little tag here in some of them called Pro, and that means that we are in a paid plan for you guys to be able to use them. But we have, of course, some of the surveys that you can use in the premium plan. And the one that you can use is the one that is named GAIS survey. And that's actually our full employee engagement survey. So if you would like to have a full view of how the job satisfaction is looking amongst your colleagues, then I would recommend you guys to use this one. And this one you can use in the freemium plan as well. In this survey, we have, as you can see here, 38 questions. Actually, it's 37 questions that we ask. And then number 38 is a little assignment, perhaps we can call it that, where they would have to rank each of the 7 factors I just covered in terms of what is the most important to them. More on that later as well. So 38 questions, but here you also have the options to add up to 5 of your own questions. So if you have something unique in your company that you would like to cover as well, then you can add that. That could be some mission or vision or whatever, like culture questions, whatever it could be. You can add those as well. In the paid plan, of course, you can add some more than the 5 questions. And here we also have a big library of already pre-made questions by us that you can also put in if you would like to do that. So if you would like to have a full view of the engagement in the company, then you can use this survey here. And if you are on our premium plan, as we are talking about today, you can use, let me see if I can explain this as easy to understand as possible. But on the freemium plan, you can use one survey per year, but you can use that survey all the times that you want. So let me give you an example. Let's say that I would like to send out this full GAIS survey here. That will be possible. And then I can also use this full GAIS survey the rest of the year. But I cannot change and then use this survey here below called the quick GAIS survey. That is not allowed. That's only on our pay plans where you can then choose whatever survey you would like to use within that year. I hope that makes sense. Otherwise, feel free to ask questions in the chat, and my colleague will get back to you on that. But the quick GAIS survey is, perhaps you can read a bit from the name, but that is a smaller survey where we don't ask as many questions as in the top one, but more on that in the platform where I'll show you. Perhaps it makes a bit more sense there. I think we'll move on from this slide here. And here as well. And now I actually think that we will just jump directly into the platform so you can have an idea or a look on how it looks. So I'll just stop sharing my screen here and see if I can find the correct window. Before entering the platform, I would like to show you what or how you can actually enter the GAIS platform yourself. Because right now I am on our webpage, so gais.io that you see up here in the top. And then when you're on the front page of our website, you can actually see down here, try for free now. This is the box that you will press. We will just enter it here. And then we get into this sign up page where you would just have to add your name and email address, and also select your the country that you're from, the company name, and the industry that you belong to, and the number of employees, and then just create user, and then you will jump directly into the platform from there. And that is where I will take you guys as well. Now we are actually in the app guide, so in the software that we have for you guys. We are in the page up here called My Reports. So this is where all the surveys or reports that you have will be placed, and they'll just be placed on top of each other here. When creating a new survey, we will use the green button over here, create new survey, and then we will just press create new company survey. And then we get into this page here where we would need to choose, okay, what survey do we want to use? I already added some words into the full GAIS survey, but I would also like to add some words into the 5 other surveys that we offer as of today. Because on the freemium plan, we also offer this quick GAIS survey that I quickly mentioned before. So the quick GAIS, I would use this survey or look at this survey as being more of a temperature survey. So if we would like to just quickly get an understanding of how it's going, like how the job satisfaction is going in perhaps the company or also just the department, then I would use this this survey here. In the quick guides, we have it's the same factors that we cover as in the big one, but here we only have one question per factor. And then we also have one question to the overall job satisfaction. And then the ninth question is again the little test where they need to rank the 7 factors. So 9 in total. Here you can also again add up to 5 of your own questions in the freemium version. In the paid version, you can add some more questions and also use our library. If perhaps we have some questions that could be relevant for you guys as well. So like I said, this would be more of a temperature survey that you would be able to use. What we often see companies, and this would be mostly on the paid plans, how they use these could be once or twice a year we send out the full GAIS survey. And then if we, after we analyze some data, we located some areas where we would need to improve. That could be in the factor balance, so the balance between the personal life, the private life, and the work life, so the balance between those two. We can see in general in the company, this factor is not scoring the best. Then most companies would then add some action plans, or they would put some things in motion to try and improve this area. And then perhaps in 2-3 months from now, we want to test, okay, did these things that we put in motion, did these things actually create a difference? Then we could use the temperature survey here to send out and just to see what the response will be on the balance factor. If it's good, well then perfect. Some of the things that we did actually worked, and if it comes back and we can see that it's perhaps the same status quo or it's worse, well then perhaps we would need to do something more. So this is how I would use these two. We also have this survey here called a workplace risk assessment. And this survey is a survey that we actually here in Denmark and also in Sweden and Norway have to do by law. So that means we have to ask, or we have to cover some basic factors, and these factors is the one that you can see here. Perhaps it's a bit small, but it's factors called the physical work environment, the psychological work environment, sick leave, and stress. We need to cover these in terms of how these 4 factors, how the employees are viewing these factors. How is it going? Like, is our department very messy? Well, then that would be a question to the physical work environment. Then we would need to do some actions towards that. Of course, I don't know the rules and regulations in the entire Europe with this survey, so the workplace risk assessment. Perhaps it's also mandatory in the countries that you are working in as of today. If it is, then you would be able to use this survey as well, but only on our paid plan. We cannot use this survey on the freemium version. Good. Here below, we have some surveys that we call factor surveys. And a factor surveys is just a possibility for you guys in HR or the leadership team, again, to understanding a single factor a bit more than we are able to do in the full GAIS survey. So let me press here on the purpose factor, because the purpose factor, you can actually use that on the freemium version as well. So that means, let's say that we want to understand only this factor a bit more instead of including all the other 6. Well, then we can just send out this purpose factor survey, and we can see that there is 16 questions to it, covering 4 dimensions of purpose. So if we would want to understand this more in depth, well, then we can use this. On our paid version, you can also use this on the leadership factor, but also on the balance factor. And a small teaser of how the developing is looking in GAIS for the future, because we hopefully soon, if not this year, then hopefully in the beginning of next year, we will present a flexible survey. So that actually means that you would be able to create your complete own survey. If you would like to not use any of our factors or questions, well, then you can just make up your own and then use the platform to send it out and analyze the data afterwards. So hopefully we will present that soon as well. Good. Now I would like to take you through how to set up a survey in GAIS. So we just pick which survey we want to use, and today I will pick the full GAIS survey, and then I'll just press create survey, and then we will kind of enter the setup part of the survey. And I like what is important in GAIS is, and that's it doesn't matter if it's the personal report, if it's the analyzing of the reportings, or if the set up, or if it's set up a survey. We want to make it as easy and intuitive as possible. So it will not steal too much of your time in the workday. That's some of the things that we hear from companies when perhaps they are used to creating their own surveys in Google Forms or something like this, that it always takes more time than we actually thought. So we want to at least lower that part. So what actually should take time would be the implementing part after a survey. So let's say we want to improve the balance factor. Well, that is allowed to take some time, but understanding the reporting or setting up the survey should not take too much time. So I hope that you'll get a feel of that while taking you through the setup stage. So now we are in the beginning of the setup stage, I would call it. So here we would first give the coming survey a name. So we can just call this engagement survey. Perhaps you can find a more creative name within your company that you can use. Today I'll just use this. And then in the beginning here, we would need to look at frequency, because how often do we want to send out this survey? Is it only one time, or is it yearly, or biannually, and so on? And you see when you press one of these, you can see that a draft will be creating for the coming one. So let's say that we choose biannually, then you can see now we are in October 2025, but we already have a draft for April next year being ready for us, so we can send it out when we get closer to April. And like I said, in the freemium version, you can use the same survey as many times as you want within the same year. So you would be able to do this as well. Good. Then you would also have to of course, pick a time in which, when do we want this survey to be out, and for how long do we want it to be open for the employees to answer the survey. We normally recommend having it open for 2 weeks, but of course it's different, like for every company, and you know that better than us. So if you know that your employees are very engaged in terms of these surveys, well, perhaps they will answer it fast, then you can just have it open for a week. If you know, on the other hand, okay, my employees are a bit slow to this, so we'll just extend the opening hours, so to say. Good. But here you just pick a date in the calendar, and then it will shut down automatically. And then you just kind of follow the next, follow the platform here. So the next would be invitation. And you can also see the steps up here that we have to go through before using this big green button here saying send invitations now. But here we have our invitation, and we always have a standard invitation that you can use if you would like to, but it's fully editable, so you can just delete it if you want to, and type your own words if you have something that is better than what we made up. We also have, of course, all the different languages, because if you have employees from a different company, a different language country than your company is from, well, then we can also add their language as well. Of course, if you choose to edit the text, you would need to also do your own translation into the other languages that you use. But the standard text that we offer, we have in all the 19 languages. And of course, down here in the bottom, it's always nice to add a sender name. So if it's from HR, the CEO, or whoever it comes from. Good. Then we go to the next part here, which is invites. And here, I would actually like to just stop the sharing here, because I would like to show you how we actually add employees onto the GAIS platform, or into the GAIS platform. Because as you can see here, we have like per default is always sent out to everyone in the organization. But like I said in the beginning, it's very easy for you to send out to departments. So that's what we can choose here. And we need to, of course, upload some information about our employees in the platform. And we do that by Excel. So we would actually, if you would choose to use GAIS, we will send you a template in Excel where you would have to add your employees. And let me just show you an example of a template. I'll just stop sharing here and see if I can open my Excel here. Great. Now this is a template that we would use, and actually I have to apologize. I see some of the filters up here are in Danish, but let me just go through it quite fast here. So the first column here, we have all the email addresses on your employees. So that's quite easy. So of course we will add those. We will also add the names of all our employees. We can also choose to add age, and usually we do that by interval because everything in GAIS is anonymous. So we cannot just put the exact age, because then we would not be able to see some reports, only if we would have multiple employees within the exact same age. So we normally do intervals, and of course you can also choose the intervals in terms of what makes sense in your company. We also typically add gender as well, also the languages. And here, if you can see, I have some Danish persons in this file. I also have some from UK and some from Norway. And when we do this in the Excel file and upload it to the platform, then immediately the platform knows, good, we have some employees here from different countries. So when we are going to the invitation text part in the setup survey, we will already have added the text for the particular countries, if that makes sense. So here we will add the countries as well, and also by name here. Then, of course, we would like to know or divide the employees into departments. And here we have some classical ones, in my at least. So it's sales, marketing, development. So that means that when we get the reports and we want to understand how it's going more in depth, well, then we can look at it by department. So we don't always have to only look at the entire company, because I guess it can also be different if perhaps some of you guys are working in a production company where you have someone that is sitting by a computer, but you also have some that is working in the production. And I guess their satisfaction or job satisfaction could be quite different. So it makes sense for us to like do a segment where we look at them separately. We also can add the job position, so we can create groups within the same job position as well. We can also add the closest or immediate manager. So that means when they will answer the questions regarding the factor leadership, well, then their closest manager will be in the question, so the employees know who they are answering questions to. Because sometimes that can be confusing. Am I answering questions upon my closest manager, or is it the top management, or who is it? So it's nice to know exactly who we should kind of rate, so to say. Good. So this, and when you sign up to the platform and you would like to do a test, we will send you a template looking like this, so you can just add it. You can also add your own columns if you have something that you would like to track that we don't have here. We have, I would say, data freedom. So if you have the data on your employees, you can put it in here. Good. Now I'll just stop this Excel sharing here, and I'll go back to the platform to pick up where we came from. Good. I hope that you can see my screen again here. I will just move on down here to filters, because here we would need to do some mapping in terms of our data file and the platform, just so we make sure that the platform understands the file correctly. So when the age column should be, the data should come from the file where it says age and so on. So we just need to map it correctly here. I will move on to organization. Here you can see the organization that we have, and you can also see the closest managers or the immediate managers that we have here. So of course, if something is not looking correct here, well, then we can go back into the Excel file, change it, upload it again, and then it will be correct again. I will move on to dialog, because here we have some settings that we can choose to use or not. For instance, we can allow collection of comments. So that means that we will make sure that it's possible for the employees to add some of their own comments when they go through the survey. Usually we see companies doing this. Often we actually love receiving comments, because here we can understand even more what the employees would like to say or what they would like to change. We can also allow replies. So that means that you in HR or in the leadership team can actually you can have an anonymous dialogue with your employees based on a comment. So let's say someone would type something like, "It's really messy in my department," but you don't know what department this comment is coming from. Then you could reply, "Hello, thank you for your comment. Could you please elaborate on where you're sitting or located, so we can clean it up, of course." And then the the employee can go into the personal report, answer you guys, and then hopefully we can solve this problem even faster. Good. So this is some of the settings that you can add if it makes sense. Next, we go to the questions, and here we have an overview of all the 38 questions that we offer. And you can also here in the extra questions add some of your own if you have those as well. Good. I'll just continue here to the settings. And actually, this last setting page here, all the settings here are only possible to use when you are on our paid plan. So it's actually not used to change any. It's not allowed to change anything if it's on the premium version as well. Good. Now I will jump into the reporting side of the platform, and we will begin in the personal report. So this is what your employees will receive when they have answered a survey. I'll just have a sip of coffee here before showing you guys this personal report. But as you can see, here is my name, so I know that this is my personal report, and this is of course anonymous to everybody else but myself. Then I would be able to see my job satisfaction score. So what my score is out of 100, so this is quite high. So if this would be one of your colleagues, well, then they would be in the good end of the scale here. So they would be happy about their job. Then your employees can choose to look at this little overview here, where they can see what they have as a score in each of the factors that they just answered. So the top score here is their own score, and you can actually see a score below. That is a benchmark score that you can allow them to have a look at as well, so they can compare themselves up against how the general job satisfaction is amongst employees in the Nordics. That's also from our research. Good. You can also press them and then have a look at each of the questions that they just answered if they would like to have a look at that. If they scroll down here, then they would see the result of the little exercise that we need them to do at the end of the survey, where they need to rank each of the factors. And you can see I ranked balance as being the most important to me right now, and purpose is the one being the less important one. This is actually quite difficult, because you would normally say all these factors are quite important to me, so it's difficult to rank them, but we need them to do it, because then you also in HR have a quite good understanding when you look at the reports where you would need to add some focus in terms of creating a better work environment for your employees. Here are the comments. So this is where I could reply back to you guys if you texted to me, like if you wanted me to elaborate on one of my own comments. If we go back to the main menu here in the personal report, then employees will, of course, not only will they see their own score based on the survey that they just did, but they will also receive a lot of resources from us that will help them improving their own job satisfaction based on where they would have a lower score. Because in the ideal world, job satisfaction should not only be from above, so coming only from HR or the leadership team. It should also be something that every employee kind of brings into the organization. So let me give you an example of some of these resources. Let me just go down to this example here. Because the platform could detect that there is a great potential in the factory colleagues for me. Because my lowest score is on the question about your trust in your colleague, but the colleagues factor is important to me. So here is a little article that I can press here, find out more, and then the article will be presented and I can read it through. Hopefully I can take a tip or two that I can implement into the organization. Good. Here there is a bigger resource. It takes 22 minutes approximately that your employees will also be able to have a look at this as well. Down here in the bottom, we have an analyzing tool called a focus map. And a focus map you will also be able to see from the entire company on the company side, so from HR perspective. This one is my own personal focus map. And if you have a quick look down here in the corner where you can see that would be the number 1 and improve first. And then you can see this circle with the factor achievements. This one is placed down here because the platform could see that I had the relatively, of course, the lowest score on the factor achievements, but I ranked it as being the most important. So there is a clash here. It's not going that well. I wish it would be, because then I could increase my job satisfaction. This focus map you will also be able to use in a one-on-one conversation, because employees can go down in the bottom and then they can download their personal report into PowerPoint or PDF, and then they will be able to take this slide of the focus map, bring it into a leader, and then you can have a talk regarding how it's going with the factors. This was a quick look into the personal report. I hope that you can understand or see at least some purpose into this report and what you can use it for. Now I will just go into the company reporting. I can see that the time is flying here. I'm talking too much perhaps. But I would also, of course, want to show you how you can use or what you will be able to see when you get a report back when you have sent out this survey. Because now we are on the front page of a full GAIS survey here. And what you would be able to see before diving into the report would be that we can see that we have a general job satisfaction score of 71 out of 100. We can see here that 38 answered the survey out of 43 invites. So a quite high response rate, which is very important when we do these surveys. Then we will also be able to see what we have as a score in each of the 7 factors. And when we have more than one survey, then we would also be able to see the development with these green arrows here. So actually all the factors went up since the survey that we did last time, which is this one here. So you can see that the template or the draft continues. So if we would go down in one of these factors, you would see a red arrow going down. So you would know that immediately. But then when looking at these key numbers, I would say you would go into view report. And this is, I would call this the engine of GAIS. So this is within the reporting, this is where we can analyze all the data. And just to give you a brief introduction of, in terms of navigating this report, out here on the left, we have all the analyzing tools that we provide. Some of them is not allowed to be used on the freemium version, only on the paid version. I will tell you more about that in a second. Up here in the top one, we have the option of also navigating what we want to see in the platform. And especially here in the middle, the segment editor here, you can choose what we want to see if we don't want to only have a look at the entire company. So let's say we would like to only look at one department. We can go down to department, fold this out, and then we can say we would like to see how it's going in our HR department. And then we can have a look at that. Of course, if we have too few responses, so fewer than 3 in a group that we pick, we cannot see anything. So the platform will come and say this is not allowed to look at because we don't have enough responses. So here you can use this segment editor as you prefer and want to. Of course, if you have no filters, then we just have a full view of the entire company. Good. Some of the analyzing tools I would like to show you is placed, like I said in the beginning, out here on the left. We can try and have a look at the development tool at the beginning here, because then we can see the development through time if we have more than one survey, of course. And we actually do in this series here, we have 2. So we can use here. Here we have our timeline of surveys. We have one from August and one from September. And then we can see how it's been going because we have the timeline down here as well. So we can just hover the mouse over the factors and see how it's been going. So the purpose factor, we actually went a bit up, and we can have a look on all the factors. So it's quite easy to see, are we going up or down since the last survey that we did. We can also click on the tool called factors, because in here you get an overview of all the factors and how it's been going. We always have the job satisfaction on top, and then we place the rest of the factors in terms of the highest to the lowest score. So the purpose is the factor that we have the highest score, and then it goes down to balance with the lowest score. Here you can also see how it's been going. You can unfold it and see the questions. So the score on each of the questions to the purpose factor. You can also use, again, the filtering, saying, okay, how is it going in the departments? Now you can see the score in each of the factors in each of the department that we have, so we can understand and track, so how is it going when we compare the departments to each other. We also here below have a benchmark score. That could be an industry benchmark where we can compare how is it going in our industry, if we have enough valid data, of course. Good. And of course, you can jump by clicking on the factors here. We also have the option of looking at the spread. So, and here we have the two surveys that we have, because we chose that up here in the top in the timeline. So here we can see the spread. So because all our questions is on a scale from 0 till 10, so we can see where they are located. Do we have a lot in the top and a lot in the bottom, or is it fairly nice placed in the top like it is right here? So that you can also have a look at. We also have the comment section. So all the comments that your employees would add would be placed in here, where you can, of course, filter a bit. If you have a lot of comments, you can filter by clicking on the factors. So I would like to see, what did my colleagues say about the leadership? We can see it here. We can also add a filter saying, what are the colleagues saying with the lowest job satisfaction score, so between 0 and 60, what are they saying? And what are the happiest employees saying? That we can also see. Here we have the reply function. So if you would like to reply to a comment, you just press on it, and then you type your comment and press send. And up here you can see that the employee is anonymous. You don't know who you are texting, of course. Good. Your own questions will be placed down here in the bottom. We also have the focus map, as I showed you in the personal report, but now the focus map is based on the full company. But you can also see a focus map based on departments if you use our filtering up here in the middle. But here you can see what we would need to add some focus on by clicking on the different factors. So this one down here is something that we would need to have as a first priority, because we have a quite low score, 51 out of 100. We can see the benchmark is 77, sorry. So we are quite behind here. Good. We also have a lot of resources because, like the ones that we had in the personal report, we also have a lot for you guys in HR or in the leadership team. So if you don't know exactly what to do when you understand your data, well, then we have some guides where we can help you a bit. And we only show the reports that makes sense in terms of your score. So we don't show all the resources that we have, only the ones that make sense in terms of the survey that you just did. The last thing I would like to show you here as well is, if you would like to, of course, show some of the data on a staff meeting or something like that, well, then we can make the platform do a lot of reporting into PowerPoint for you guys, so you don't have to do it yourself. So you can just ask the platform to do it, and then you have something that you can show your employees. Good. I can see that the time is flying, so I will just stop my sharing here and just go through the last slides briefly with you guys here. Let me just share my screen quite fast. Here. Hopefully you can see my screen again. I'll just go into presentation mode here. this is an overview, and we will send you the slides after this as well. And we also record this session, so you will get the recording as well, so you can have a look at it again if you want to. But this is kind of an overview of some of the things that we can offer in our paid plans. So this is not included in the premium version. So let's say that you need to send out the survey in other ways than email. Then we have like a QR code based solution that you can use on the paid plans. We also have extra questions, extra support, some extra analyzing tools, mini reports if you are fewer than 5 employees. So we have a lot of things that we can add if you are fewer than 5. If you are on our paid plan. And also feel free to reach out to me after this webinar, then I can let you know a bit more specifically. And now I hope that my colleague in the Q&A session will share with you a link so you can actually try the survey yourself. So if you just go to the Q&A and then you will see a link from my colleague Rebecca, and then you can just press the link, and then you will actually be able to answer the full 38 questions in our full GAIS survey, and then also receive your own personal report after, so you can see how it would look like. You can use the link all the times that you would like to, so you can also show it to a colleague if you would like them to try and go through the flow as well. It would be the same flow as your employees would do in the personal or when you send out a survey. Good. I think this was about everything I had for you guys today. I'm sorry that I ran a bit over time. I see 2 minutes so far. I hope it's okay. I hope that you got some insights into the platform and how you would be able to use GAIS in terms of analyzing and track how your employees are feeling when going to work. If you would like to have some more information, or you would like to see the platform on a more one-on-one based meeting, well, then feel free to reach out to either Louise or me, of course. Then we would be happy to show you the platform, or also help you with creating this test survey here. For now, I just really want to say thank you for participating, and I just want to wish you a very good day. Bye.